For 20-year-old Austin Hatch, Chrysler Center at the University of Michigan has been a yearned-for destination. Not a finish line, a kind of promised land, reached only after a journey of biblical proportions.
Cleared flight level 220. 911, a plane just crashed.
And all of a sudden, big boom.
8 years later.
Oh gosh, it is unbelievable.
When you're millimeters away from death, you look at life through a different lens.
He is a walking miracle.
Let's just say that the situation didn't look good. But here we are.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Leveled Up Life podcast. I am Brandon Courtney, always here with Paul McLean, and we are excited today because it is going to be something that you are going to want to lean into the edge of your seat, because we have a special guest here today who has an incredible story, an inspirational story, someone who has not only, just through his story impacted our lives, but we believe will impact yours and the thousands who have heard his story, his testimony of really resilience, of overcoming. And we're excited today to lean into this conversation. And so, Paul, as always, every Thursday, man, we get to record, sit down with you and just get a little bit better, help people level up their life in all the areas that matter most. And so it's my pleasure to be here, man.
My pleasure and privilege. And we sat back and thought, like, each and every week, me and Brian get together and we're like, what's something, a topic that we can bring to you guys that'll bring you significant value, where you can leave, better than you joined. And as we sat back looking at this week, we wanted to have a guest on that we knew would just really help you level up in every area of your life that does matter most. And this is somebody that I saw speak in front of 20,000 people on stage. And I sat there and I left just inspired to be a better person, to go after my life and make it better, to be a better husband, to be a better dad, to be better in business, just to go out there and say, hey, we only have one life. How can I go out there and make it that much better? And so today, guys, we've got somebody that I promise you is going to impact you in a big way, where you're going to leave just wanting to attack your day with just more intensity, with more positive energy, and I think more expectation that, hey, the best is, in fact, is yet to come. So, Brandon, if you want to introduce our guest today.
Absolutely. Today we have Austin Hatch on the Leveled Up Life podcast with us, all the way from Michigan. Welcome, Austin. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Great to be with you.
Are you in Michigan right now? Is that where you live at?
I am. Yep.
That's amazing, man. Awesome. So you played basketball at University of Michigan. Obviously, you have an incredible story that we're going to dive into. Go Blue. We're out here in Southern California, so not too many Michigan fans, except when they're in the Rose Bowl winning the national championship. But hey, again, thanks for being here, man. I just wanted to ask you, your story's all over ESPN. We've seen the documentary. We've seen the I've looked up on YouTube, kind of you sharing your story and what you've gone through. If you could just briefly, man, just with our audience who doesn't maybe know you or know your story yet, can you just share maybe a high level overview of kind of what you've gone through over the last 20? How old are you now? 29? 29 years old, man. What does your life look like? How have you gotten to this point where you're at now? Just kind of give us a brief overview of your story, man.
Yeah, well, I'm blessed, much more than I deserve. I got an amazing wife, Abby. 5 years, be 6 years in June. We got a 1-year-old son, 15 months. His name is Hudson. He's a big guy. He's gonna be about 6'10" or 6'11", they think. So we're having a lot of fun with that, and God willing, we'll have more kids in the near future. But so I'm so blessed today, and I really believe I'm blessed much more than I deserve. But I've had a challenge. I had some big challenges in life early on. Have an amazing family in heaven. Unfortunately, they're not here with us to this day. But my mom Julie, sister Lindsay, little brother Ian, dad Steve. I had the childhood that most kids dream of. I really believe that, and it was an amazing life. We had an amazing family, and on September 1st, 2003, we were flying home. My dad was a doctor, but we also had a small family plane. And we were flying home from our grandparents' house in northern Michigan. And as you prepared to land, the airplane crashed and took the life of my mom, my sister, and my brother. incomprehensible loss, devastating, incomprehensible, whatever words you want to use, right? Just unfathomable. But my dad and I, by the grace of God, survived and leaned on each other, found ways to press on and keep living. That's not something you ever really get through, but you just find a way to keep living in your life, keep living, which we did. And, things were pretty good. And my dad was remarried a couple years later, had a great blended family, restored some normalcy for sure. It didn't replace what we lost, obviously, but, having a mom and siblings at home again was great. And I was working really hard on my basketball skills on the court, began to have success. My dream was always play for Michigan. My mom's alma mater, and I grew up going to football games in Ann Arbor. When I was maybe 3 years old. So I've always been a Michigan fan. Dream was to play Michigan, play basketball for him. Coach Beeline, former coach at Michigan, offered me a scholarship to play for him June 15th, 2011. Dream come true, lifelong dream come true. I commit on the spot right then and there. Hope to have a great career at Michigan. Obviously, I was only a sophomore in high school, so I had to get better, but I mean, the future was looking good, and I hope to have a great career, as I said. But 9 days later, tragically, we were involved in a second plane crash, flying to Northern Michigan. This time, the same place we were returning from 8 years earlier. And yes, we were flying there, and then as we were preparing to land again, the plane crashed. Took the life of my dad, Steve, my second mom, Kim. Should have killed me too. By the grace of God, I'm here. Nothing else, I believe. By the grace of God, I'm here. And I had a lot of injuries. I was in a coma for about 2 months, maybe 2.5. And I came out of the coma, and by the grace of God again, and Coach Beeline came to see me in the hospital. I'm a former coach at Michigan who I had committed to play for 9 days before the crash. He came to see me in the hospital, and I couldn't walk. I might never walk ever again. And he said, "Austin, man, I can't wait to have you on my team someday. Whenever I would play for him, I can't wait to coach you." So my message today to organizations across the country, whether it's Family First Life, or the hundreds I've had the privilege of serving, it's my message about how we can go from where we are to where we want to be. And for me, a lot of things had to happen, and I'm so grateful for everybody who helped me along the way. But I think more than anything, it took some grit. It took some grit, and that's what my message is about today. So.
Well, Austin, I think that for anybody that's watching this, they probably didn't expect you to say that, because what you just said is something that, for one, statistically just doesn't happen. Like what is the statistics in somebody surviving 2 plane crashes?
So the odds, according to this MIT statistician guy, his name is Arnold Bennett. He studies airplane crashes, kind of how they happen, why they happen, so that we can prevent them in the future, hopefully. He calculated the odds of surviving 1 plane crash with 1 fatality is 1 in 3.4 million. So it's pretty slim. You wouldn't bet on that. Tragically, but fortunately, I guess, I survived 2 of those. So using his odds, say they're right, in the ballpark at least. Maybe it's slimmer, maybe, whatever. Ballpark. So 1 in 3.4 million times 1 in 3.4 million is 1 in 11 quadrillion, 560 trillion. I think that's a 17-digit number on the denominator of that fraction. So, whatever the world population is, what, 9 billion people or something. So I think that's like 200,000 times the world population or something, whatever the math is. It's
well, I mean, I think you said it right. When you look at that kind of number, you have to point to the grace of God. And I think the second part of that is everybody that's watching this, I know that if you're feeling like what I felt when I first heard that was just the incredible amount of tragedy and that adversity that you had to deal with going through, not just the first loss and what that recovery looked like and how to get through that, and really to have this victor mindset and not to kind of go down to this victim of, why did this happen, and just almost give up. You kept pressing forward all the way to the point where you get this full ride scholarship to a D1 college, and then to have that second plane crash happen. And I just know that if anybody's just imagining losing one of their family members, I've had that thought before, and God, it's debilitating, but to have that happen with multiple family members, and to see your response. I think most people probably have the question that I had, which is, how did you navigate through that, and emotionally, physically, I mean, even physically with, the amount of injury that had to deal with. So it was like physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How did you get through that, Austin? How did you bounce back? How did you respond to now we're sitting here and having this conversation with somebody that speaks in front of, thousands and thousands of people on a stage and delivers hope and inspires them to go out there and respond to the adversities and overcome it and have that better life. How did you get through that?
Yeah, well, I think it's you mentioned having that the victim mindset versus the victor mindset, I think is what you said. And I think it's it's a choice. It's a choice to have the victim mindset. It's a lot easier to choose that rather than choose the mindset that's, okay, this happened to me. I'm going to find a way to, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find a way to overcome this. I'm going to find a way. And I think deciding to have that outlook, choosing that, it's harder to do. If you want to choose the easier road, be the victim. It's always easier to do that. But it doesn't lead you anywhere. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And so I think that if you truly want to get somewhere, your mindset, your actions, you got to have some personal accountability, to recognize that, okay, the situation is what it is. I can't do anything about this, but I have complete control over how I choose to respond. It's a choice. And yeah, I just decided that, after both plane crashes, but especially the second one when I was almost killed, right? And I had Michigan in my future, or as soon as Coach Beilein told me that, I got to get to work. I got to find a way because he's going to hold up his side of the deal. I owe it to him to do everything in my power to, hold up my end of the deal too, and get myself to be in a position where I can go to Michigan and find some way to help the team win. Even if I can't play, I'm going to find some way to contribute when I'm there. And that's a whole nother conversation altogether. But yeah, I think if you just remember that, like the adversity we face, we may be the ones directly impacted, right? Like I was the only sole survivor of my family from the plane crashes, tragically. But my whole family and all my parents, friends, and all my family, everybody was impacted in some way. But I think the way we respond to adversity, it really isn't even about us. It's not. I mean, it is to some degree, right? It was my journey. I was injured. I had to overcome for my, to get to where I wanted to be, to get to Michigan. But you got to think about it as who can I impact with my response? Who's why? And I'm not saying be hyper focused on other people's opinions, but I'm just saying I think it's important to be very conscious of the example that we can set for people, because someone's always watching, whether it's one person watching or it's 1,000 people watching. There's someone always watching. So
that's really good. I talk a lot about, adversity and overcoming problems and challenges. And, we all have our different stories and setbacks and things that we've gone through. And a lot of times when we go through difficult moments or difficult seasons, you don't really understand or realize how much effort it's going to take to not just go through this season, but to grow through it, to actually take something out of it and learn the lessons. And I see a lot of people who go through really hard times and they end up repeating, similar issues or similar problems down the line because they never grew through the problem. So talk about, like, were you aware that you had that you were taking lessons from the tragedies as you were going through them? Or is it only in hindsight that you look back and say, what, now I can see how God was kind of working it all together, for where I'm at right now?
Yeah.
Or was it like,
yeah, I think,
were you even in that mindset at all? Or were you just like, hey, I survived for a reason. Now let me grow through this. Like, what was your mindset like in the recovery process?
Yeah, well, I think I mean, you always recognize that kind of thing more in hindsight, but I knew on the journey, I knew there was lessons to be learned, and I was determined to find positives to take from it. And obviously no positive from losing what I lost, and no positives about experiencing the life-threatening injuries that I did, but the recovery, the road to recovery, the resilience that I had to have, like I knew on the journey, I'm like, this is an opportunity. I didn't ask for it, but it's an opportunity. And I'm also kind of reminded of because you mentioned about how, one thing, there's a whole nother conversation about getting through something versus growing through it, right? And I think, so I believe it's, so James 1, 2, and 3, right? Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance.
That's right.
And you might know this better than me, and this might be wrong. I'm pretty sure I read this somewhere though recently. I think joy in Hebrew is translated as something like to make you more like Christ. And so using that definition, it's like, so consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds. It says, so it's basically saying like these trials and how you respond to them can make you more like Christ, because he obviously experienced challenges. And so I think that, I just look at it. I look at every challenge I ever face, whether it's in business, in my family, my marriage, and anything today, like with anything I experience, where's the opportunity in this?
Really good. Was that a mindset that your dad instilled in you as a young age? Like, where does someone get that mentality? Was your dad, like, obviously he's a doctor, successful, was he instilling those values in you as a little boy? Like, what was that like kind of growing up, that, when you faced adversity, when you faced a problem, you kind of reverted back to what was instilled in you? Was that the case?
Yeah, well, I think especially seeing how my dad responded to the first plane crash. I can't imagine. Look, I'm married now. I have a 1-year-old boy at home. Hope, God willing, more kids soon. And so my dad lost his wife of 20 years, and two of his 3 children. I can't imagine I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he kept living his life in the midst of that. And I think one thing, I think he knew that I was watching him very closely. Whether or not I realized that I was paying attention, right? Like kind of like what I said before, people are always watching, especially for dads, our sons, our daughters. And so I think that, like I said, the example that we set, and, I honestly really believe that if my dad had responded differently, if he had more of the victim mindset after that first plane crash and losing what he lost, I would not be where I am today. If I would have saw somebody like curl up in a ball and he had the right to do that. Like, look, he lost, his wife and 2 kids. I can't imagine from his perspective, but yeah, he set an example for me, and fortunately or unfortunately, that example turned out to be a very important one.
Hey, Austin, I got a question for you, because I think, when I'm listening to you, it's like you had those things happen, but you kept moving forward because of the joy that was set before you, right? And scripture says, run your race for the joy that's set before you. And you kind of alluded to, that Christ-like, I was building myself up, and Christ went through the ultimate sacrifice, right? And I think that everybody's got a race before them, but I think a lot of times when tragedy happens, when it becomes so painful that it can kind of cloud the race that is before you, right? It almost seems like the pain is so daunting, how I feel in the present moment, how I feel looking back to what I just came out of. It's hard for me to see forward clearly that I do have a race before me. And, I noticed you said that Coach Beeline came to the hospital and he said, hey, I'm looking forward to you playing at Michigan. And, he saw the condition you were currently, but he also kind of stated a vision of you and a person that was playing for Michigan. And he saw this leveled up version of you getting past this, getting through this. And he kind of like, to me, it sounds like he spotlighted the race before you and the joy that would be held on the other side of you running that race and choosing to run that race. And, because I do believe that most spiritual thing anybody could do is to choose, right? Like that's what God created us in his image to create. And we all have the choice to respond, the choice to hold on to one thought or let another thought go. Like being spiritual is the ability to choose and getting around other people that can help bring out the better choice. Like there's a better choice. There's a better me. There's a lower level me. And that's with everybody. Can you kind of talk about like, Brand talked about your dad and how he instilled that. And then Coach Beeline seemed like he was a second person in your life that, kind of helped bring out that next level version of you. Can you talk about like how important it's been to have a support team that helped you kind of, really cultivate that resilience and perseverance that was necessary and needed to get to the place that you are currently today?
Yeah, well, I think it's so important to have people obviously who believe in us, maybe sometimes more than we believe in ourselves. And also people that have a vision for us and want to help us get there, and who hold us very accountable to do what it takes to get there, right? And yeah, I think just Coach Beeline, his follow through and his commitment to me and the role he's played in my life is as big as anyone other than my dad and my family. I mean that man has impacted my family for generations, because not to get on just the follow through standpoint, but if he doesn't follow through in his commitment to me and honor my scholarship, I don't go to Michigan. I don't meet my wife. We obviously don't get married. We don't have our son. We don't have our other kids, God willing. So, I mean, his Coach Beeline's, from a leadership standpoint, his follow through and his commitment impacted me and my family for generations, like forever. So, but yeah, I think from a leadership standpoint, I think it's an obligation, not an obligation, but it's a responsibility to help those we lead level up, right? Help them kick it up a notch. And I think, what Coach Beeline did for me and all my teammates, everybody Coach Beeline ever coached, he had a vision for us all, and not to say that his vision was all like the only right one or the best one but he had a vision for us, and he held us accountable to do what it takes to get there. And it's one thing I've actually thought about is, like as parents, so obviously our son he's 1 year old, he's just starting to talk. He can say the basic word, mom, my dad, basic things like that. So he can't obviously have conversations yet. But like the whole thing from a parenting standpoint, I'm doing this because I love you. We all heard that one, right? And I think that's good. But I think it almost maybe a better, more effective. I've obviously never said that to our son, so maybe this is not my place to say. But maybe it's, I have high expectations of you, and I know you have them of yourself, and I'm doing this to hold you accountable to get there, right? Like I know you have goals, and I want to see you get there. I know you want to level up. I know you want to kick it up a notch in your life. And I'm doing this to help you get there, holding you accountable so that you can get there. I just think that, having people in our life like that, obviously having people that compliment us all the time is great, and positive reinforcement is great, but that doesn't really help you level up at all. I mean, it does. I'm not saying you should never compliment anybody, but you really grow, you really level up by getting the tough love, and my dad certainly did that for me. Obviously, my dad was an amazing man, amazing dad, and gave me positive reinforcement a lot. But I grew when he gave me the tough love and said, "Hey, Os, man, you fell short here. How are we going to be better in the future? What can I do to help you be better? Because I know you're capable of it, and I want to make sure you reach your full potential." So. Yeah, I think just having people in our lives like that, whether it's parents, coaches, mentors, I think those kind of people are very, very important.
Really, really good. I like that. Talk to us about a little bit about your time at Michigan. Obviously, as a young boy, that was your goal, as your mom's alma mater. You said to be, a Michigan basketball player, and you made it. You got there, but it wasn't maybe not what you expected growing up. Talk about your time there. I heard you say something really cool, and when I don't know who you were speaking to, but you said something like, we have to be an all-star at our position. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes what we do is we try to compare our position or our purpose with other people, and we end up not fulfilling what we're actually supposed to step into, because our whole life is just trying to, compare our life to their life. And, you get in this comparison trap. It's all over social media. It's all over everywhere, right? But when you said like, man, we got to be an all-star at your position, talk to us like about that, what that means. What was your expectation going into Michigan? Then when you got there, how did it turn out? I know you have a really cool stat line that I heard you say at the free throw line that you're kind of proud of. So talk to us a little bit about that 4 years at Michigan. What did it turn out to be?
Yeah, well, obviously when I committed to play as a sophomore in high school on June 15th, I hope to have a great career there, help the team win, score, rebound, play defense, and maybe have a chance to play after college. Who knows? But obviously the second plane crash happened 9 days later. Severely injured me, as I mentioned earlier, and wasn't able to have the role that I originally hoped to have at Michigan. Wasn't able to really play, but like help the team on the court. But it takes no talent to be a great teammate. It takes no physical ability to take pride in your role, whatever it is, right? Like you don't have to. Sometimes here's something that I've thought about. Like so I was blessed to be a pretty good basketball player at one point in my life, right? And I was usually the best player on every team I played on. Not to be arrogant, but I was usually the best player on the teams that I played on growing up, which is great, fun. But after that second plane crash, I obviously wasn't, and I couldn't really play. But I don't think sometimes we don't always need to be the best on the team. Now, look, I think there's an interesting, conversation between working to be the best that you can be every single day, for yourself. Like, I need to work hard so I can be better for the team. Like, I really want to be the best that I can be. But you don't have to be the best on the team to be the best for the team.
That's good.
It's only a one-word difference. Being the best on the team is great. Being the LeBron James of the world is great. But obviously, I'm not saying I was LeBron James. I'm just saying but you can just decide that, what, I'm gonna find a way to be the best that I can be for the team. And for me, but that was at Michigan. That was shagging balls in practice, helping drills, bringing positive energy to the gym every single day, being a great teammate, just taking pride in what I could do. And I obviously would have loved to be able to play. And I'm not saying, like I said before, don't be complacent and not work to get better. But I think we can be stars in our role right now. And by being a star in our role today, that only is going to elevate the whole team. And that's also going to prepare us for what's next. So.
Well, dude, I think, man, for one, Austin, your response to being the best for the team is something that everybody can take in all areas of life, because life is seasonal. Like, you're not in the same place at the same time forever. There's shifts, there's changes. You got to adapt, you got to evolve. And I think when you get so stuck in what could have been or what should have been or what was, it really prevents us from stepping forward to being all we could be in this present moment. And what we have is right now. And if we can be the best we can be right now, we're able to go out there and create that next level future that's before us. And man, you've done that. And I just want people to have some really context to this, because I'm sitting here thinking about everything as you're talking, Austin. You had the losses that you had, but you also, the physical challenge that you had was, the coma that you were in for 2 months. You had a very traumatic brain injury, right? I think last time we spoke, you said it was at a 1 to 7. It was a 7.
Yeah. So doctors, they rank traumatic brain injuries as far as severity on a scale of 1 to 7, 7 being the worst. And my TBI, my brain injury, was the worst level 7 TBI they'd ever seen that came out of a coma. So, I'm again, like I said before, by the grace of God, I'm here. I'm very blessed to be here. Statistically, I shouldn't be, but I guess I should be if I am, right? God kept me here for a reason. And I'm just doing my best to step into that every single day. And my goal is just to leave every place and every person that I interact with. My goal is to leave those people a little bit better than I found them, just a little bit.
Well, I think you're definitely doing it, man. You're definitely doing that. And, when you look at those things that you kind of handled and what you navigated and what you went through, my question is, Austin, like, how did you keep such a positive look on everything as you went through that? Because to me, I believe that we all have the greatest capacity to really assist our past self, right? And now your mission is helping people overcome adversities and struggles and giving really perspective on things in life, because there's, somebody can be debilitated by something that most people could say, that's small. Why has that got you messed up? And then yes, somebody going through. So it's really the perception of the adversity and struggle that really kind of dictates our ability to be, moving forward at the rate that we should, or to be, kind of dealing with a lot of this trauma that's got us stuck where we're at. How did you keep a positive outlook to go out there and be on a mission and be on a purpose and move through those adversities and struggles? Because I think there's somebody on here today that's thinking like, man, this, like, how did they hear it, but they're thinking like, I can't move forward. I just feel like this is so heavy. Like I can't get past this issue. It could be a divorce. It could be a loss of a business. It could be a relationship. It could be different things. It could be health, a loss of a loved one. And they're just saying, how can I practically move through this? How did you get through this? How did you build a resilience? How did you get to a place where you could actually serve and help your former self? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, well, I think it's a couple things. When a challenge happens, whatever it is, whether it's physical, emotional, relational, financial, whatever it is, whether you lose a business, you lose a loved one, you lose a relationship, a marriage, or whatever happens. The thing that I did I think it's important to be busy. I think it's important to be very invested in your road to overcoming, because if you're not, you'll just spend too much time dwelling on it and thinking about, man, how unlucky am I? I didn't deserve this. Like, why couldn't the other person have done better? Why did the other people in my business not do better? Like, so that doesn't do anything. Again, that's kind of that's kind of a victim mindset again. So I think it's important to find things to focus on your recovery. And I think it's important to break it down into goals that aren't quite so big. Like, not to say you should lower your goals, because I really don't think you ever should, but just for me, I was, coming out of a coma. I can't walk right now, but my coach, hopefully my future coach at Michigan, just told me he can't wait to coach me. Okay, well, that's an amazing thing. I can't walk right now. So if I want to go to Michigan someday, I gotta eventually learn to walk. Then I gotta eventually learn to jog. Then eventually learn to maybe shoot a basketball if I can. Right? Eventually, I got to be able to relearn how to learn and get back in the classroom so that I can go to Michigan and be a student athlete. Not right. So I think it's like you see this goal. You have this. You want to run this hypothetically. You want to run the marathon in 6 months or a year. That's a daunting thing. It's a great goal to have, but you can't just run the marathon, not do anything, and then run the marathon. You got to start by being able to run a half a mile, then 1 mile, then 2 miles, then 4 miles, then 6 miles, then 8 miles, then a 10K, then a half marathon. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's important to break it down into steps, not just get so focused on the outcome. Okay, what can I do today to put myself in a better position to achieve the ultimate goal down the road? And two, like, you got like most people. I was very blessed to have a lot of great people in my life who wanted to help me and support me on my journey. And I think I can't speak for everybody who's listening to this, but I think when you're going through something, if I had to guess, most of you listening to this, whether it's you guys or anybody else, have people in your life who want to help you, want to see you succeed. And like, if they want to help you, let them help you, and just choose to look for the opportunity and look for the good in every instance. And I really believe that there's always good. Sometimes it's not obvious, but there's always positives to take away from it and ways that you can grow and be better from it. And like say, just go back to say you lost a business. Okay, well, that sucks. It does. But what can I learn from that so that I can be better in the future, right? And I just always have that mindset. Where's the opportunity in this? For me, I sell myself every single day. That's what I do. I sell my speaking business. I sell my presentation every day. Man, my presentation is me. It's me getting on stage, sharing my message. I've had companies recently who said, "Hey, sorry, we went another direction. We didn't think that would really fit for the kind of theme we were looking for our meeting." Okay, well, thank you for the consideration. And then afterwards, I do a little debrief. Okay, so maybe they just wanted a different kind of thing for their meeting. Fine, but what could I have done better to influence that outcome? I just always look for the opportunity. So
that's really good, man. I think Man, I'm inspired just hearing your story and hearing what you've gone through. Tell me this. How does Austin Hatch define success today? Like knowing what you've gone through, we live in a world now that success is defined so many different ways, whether it's money, whether it's influence, whether it's success, whether it's popularity. We all have these different versions of success. Like I think the stat you said was one in some quadrillion, tuple. I don't even know. I can't even say the word, right? That you're even supposed to be here. So waking up every day, like what kind of perspective do you have on life? What does success look like for you every day now? Just knowing what you've gone through.
Yeah, well, I think I got a few things on that. So my dad, my hero, always he said, Austin, man, I believe I'm a success because I'm loved by my family and my friends. I'm admired by my peers, and because I consistently use my God-given talents and abilities constructively to make the world a better place. That's great. Really like that one. Slight tangent, but Coach Beilein said a leader, I know you said asked about success, but Coach Beilein said a leader is someone who's very humble yet very confident and who others will follow because he or she has shown over a long period of time that he genuinely cares about those he's leading. So kind of combining those two together. So I think if you're loved by your family and your friends, that kind of shows you care about them. And so I think my dad's definition is a great one. But I would just add a couple things to that. So, not only is my dad was a success because he's loved by his family and his friends, admired by his peers, consistently uses his abilities constructively to make the world a better place. I would add, just for me, and kind of some things we're gonna try to, help our son Hudson. He doesn't need to live by this, but for me, my thing is, my goal in life is to honor God in everything that I do. Whether it's my interaction, my conversations, how I love my wife, how I, love our kids, how I provide with the work I do. My goal is to honor God in all that I do, respect everybody, and leave things better than I found them everywhere I go. And I'm like, look, man, so between my dad's definition, the love by our family and friends, admired by our peers, make the world a better place. If I do those things, and if I honor God, by respecting everybody, leaving things better than I found them. And last thing I'll add is lead by serving first. How can I help you achieve your dreams? And I think, so that was kind of a convoluted definition of success. So there was maybe 6 things in there. So between honoring God, respecting everybody, leaving things better than you found them.
I love it, man.
Dude,
I didn't hear money. I didn't hear influence. I didn't hear getting on stages. I didn't hear what the world would define as success, but rather I heard a more Christ-like definition of success, that I didn't come to be served, but rather I came to serve. And I think you hit the nail on the head, man. That's when people are out looking for purpose and looking for identity, there's no better place to turn than the Word of God. And if we ever want to be fulfilled and feel like we have a purpose and have a mission and are actually making an impact, it's all about helping other people. And man, you've done that, for us today in just this short time, pouring into us and our listening audience, I'm sure is inspired right now and encouraged and uplifted. And so thank you, man.
Yeah, that was good,
man.
Really good. Hey, really good. I'm going to say this though. You said, I didn't say anything about the money or the fame or the influence. I don't believe that's part of it. That's not success to me. That's very empty. If you're pursuing that, you're not going to be fulfilled by life. And now, look, I'm not saying getting on stage in front of 1,000 people. I like that. I like to have the nice house. I like the nice house. I like to have a nice car. I like nice stuff. Nothing wrong with that, but you shouldn't pursue it. And I feel like if we, again, not to say my definition is not the right one or the best one, but if we honor God, respect everybody, work to leave things better than we found them everywhere we go, truly care about other people, lead by serving first. I feel like all the monetary, worldly stuff, not to say that we're going to be blessed with that, but I feel like that stuff just kind of falls into place,
Well, I'll tell you this much, Austin. If there's anybody on here that's trying to find a life philosophy, they're like, I'm trying to create one. I want to put one together, man. That's one that I believe everybody could get behind, and they could see their life level up behind that philosophy that you just described and went through. I want to do a really quick rapid fire question with you. just to
Yep.
kind of get to know you a little better. One question I got to ask though, because I know Coach Beeline, he took Michigan to 2 national championships, right? I mean, he's a big deal, and I know he's played a big part in your life. What was the best piece of advice that Coach Beeline gave you that you took from that time at Michigan?
I think what I said about that leadership thing about, he said a leader is someone who's humble, confident, who others follow because he or she has shown that he genuinely cares about those he's leading. So I think that was a powerful one. I think the biggest thing though is his constant obsession with integrity. So we had 5 core values at Michigan: integrity, passion, diligence, appreciation, and unity. And then my senior year, we added accountability, which is important. But I think his constant obsession with integrity, he always said, he told us every single day, he said, in any part of your life, whether it's sports, school, relationships, whatever, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Just do the next right thing, right? It's very simple. But like in basketball, if you just consistently in your offense or defensive schemes, if you just make the next right play every single time, you're going to be successful, or you're going to have a pretty good chance of being successful. And like in business, if we just do the next right thing, make the right calls at the right time. But I think more importantly though, like on a personal level, just do the next right thing, and everybody can have different opinions on that, of what's right or not. But just my wife asked me hey, honey, can you do the dishes? Yeah, babe, I'd love to. Like, if that's how I can help, it's how I can help. And just do the next right thing, just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
I love that. Well, I don't even think I got to tell anybody to share this podcast today. I think they've already done that. But if you've not done that and you're like, I was just so captivated, I forgot to share it, I would share it now, because I believe that some of the best ways we can serve and help people is by a simple share of something that can inspire them, equip them, and empower them to be that next level version of themselves. And, Austin, I think that when we go through different tests and trials, and I think the level of those really puts us in a place where we can go to those higher levels in our life. Like the level of the adversity, man, that brings with it that same kind of level of growth and impact that we can have. And for anybody on here, I just want you to, I guess, be encouraged if, that whatever you're going through, if it's a struggle or a trial, especially something that's gone, like Austin's gone through what he's gone through. I mean, when you feel hopeless, you can bring people hope, right? When you've been so discouraged or you're just like beaten down with what life's brought you, well, now you can be an encouragement to others going through that. And I just believe that you are equipped, and your greatest asset is to serve the person that you once were. And you're doing that, man. Every single day as you get on these podcasts and you go around speaking, you're giving people hope. And I just appreciate you, man. I know that for myself and Bran, man, I just want to go out there and be a better version of myself. I'm inspired today and excited to go out there and attack my day. I know everybody on here probably is as well. And so I just want to say thank you, man. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Last thing I'll close with, for those of you who are facing any kind of adversity, which I assume is most of you, you two are probably facing stuff. I face stuff. Everybody faces stuff. You're never as far from overcoming it as you think you are. Right? You're never as far as you think you are. Oh man, I'm in this hospital bed. Yeah, I can't walk. I want to go to Michigan. Yeah, it's a long road, but it's not as far as you think, And so I think if we can just have that, remember that we're really only a couple big decisions away that'll take us from where we are to where we want to be. And usually that decision is kind of correlated to, are we going to take action? The yes or no thing. Are we going to do what we can to put ourselves in position to achieve our goals down the road? So I think I don't know what anybody who's listening, I don't know what you're facing. I don't know you personally, obviously. I believe in you. You can do it. You can overcome it. You may be a big one, but you're not as far as you think. You're not as far as you think.
I love it, man. Well, hey, Austin, thank you again, brother. And guys, go to bonus.aleveluplife.com, and we're going to have some bonus content that's going to have a worksheet that's really going to spotlight some of these topics that we covered, and have you go through some questions that really can help you, get through adversities and struggles and get it to the next level. We'll also make sure we put down Austin's information so you can connect with him. You can follow him as well on that worksheet. And so, again, man, thank you so much, guys. Let's go out there, make it a massive week. And hey, a life leveled up is a life worth living. Let's go out there and conquer today. See you guys.